Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Abyss, and in today's video is going to be a little bit of a reaction video. It's a little bit different to my regular ones because I'm kind of disagreeing with the content creator this time. I was trying to be fairly open about it because that's how I prefer to be. I had seen some stuff on Twitter about the whole contracts and stuff like that when it comes to voice actors, and there was no evidence whatsoever. So I was curious and I looked into the videos that kind of prompted this thought. You're more than welcome to share my video, I guess, to the content creator if they want to see that. I don't think they do because they can't handle it, but I'm okay with this person seeing, reacting, responding. I'm okay with that. Please don't send hate to them, okay? If you are upset by the video throughout your own will, I can't control you there. Do not try to advocate on my behalf. I just don't need you to do that. I can hate just fine, and I can respond just fine. If I make mistakes, call me out on them. That's fine. Again, I'm a-okay with that. I'm not going to sit and die on a hill if I am wrong. However, I don't need you guys to try and advocate for me. Like I said, it's totally fine. I can do that just fine myself. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Abyss, and in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to a bit of a strange video. I've got two videos up, sorry. So this content creator, Saint Ontas, is the person who kind of started this whole thing about voice actors and how Hoyoverse sabotaged Wuthering Waves. Now, I'm quite interested in this. I've seen some tweets that kind of related to this and the whole exclusivity contract for voice actors and how anyone that's voice acted for Hoyo isn't allowed to voice act for Wuthering Waves. Just off the bat, from the EN voices, EN for Hoyo is mostly American, from what I can tell. They're all based in America, whatever company and studio. And then for Wuthering Waves, it seemed to be very British, even though, from what I can tell, they were kind of forced to do a more American accent. But I think overall, I think there's definitely been some issues with the voice acting in Wuthering Waves. But I don't understand why it's the voice actors getting hate for it, because the directors have to give the okay for any scene. It's not only a one-take thing. Like, yeah, I'm sure the voice actors don't really rehearse everything, and there's some, like, you know, on-site reading that needs to happen, but it's nothing to do with their capability. So I'm a little bit confused. I did get 30 seconds in and then my mic wasn't on, so I'm rewinding. So I've seen the first 30 seconds, but yeah, we're just gonna react to this and the other video, which is a follow-up video. And this video had Sayu on the thumbnail and it was talking about how he's spreading misinformation. So I don't know what's up with that. Well, I guess we'll see when we get to that video, but let's watch this one first. It's 6 minutes, so very easy to digest. We'll just give it a shot.
Wuthering Waves has taken over the United States. Kuro Games, the developer for Wuthering Waves, is confident in its success. Interest has grown rapidly over the past few weeks as Kuro ramps up their marketing and advertising to release. Kuro has accomplished this in the gacha space despite losing many of its potential content creators to Hoyoverse's predatory preferred creator.
Hold on. Doro seems cool, right? I'm chill with Doro. Who the fuck cares about Envy and Asian guy stream? That's Atsu, right? These two idiots nuked themselves for being dumbasses. Not to mention Envy is the most sensitive person I've ever seen.
Or any potential competitor to Hoyoverse games under the threat of fines up to $500,000.
So, okay. So this is to do with sabotaging Wuthering Waves? I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too... Like, if I was to really talk about it, it's kind of weird to say I'm that bothered by it, because I would never sign this contract, and I feel like most people wouldn't. It's a bad contract. It's very bad practice to have this kind of exclusivity thing, and they should be shunned for this, totally. But just, like, don't sign it, and you can make content on both games? I don't know. I feel like Hoyoverse wouldn't pay that much anyway. I've heard of people just clowning on the prices, so...
My name is Saint Ontas, and I'm here to take you on a journey to
Saint
find out
Ontas.
what exactly Kuro has been going up against these past few years. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. In their most recent marketing venture,
We'll have to
Kuro
see,
Games
buddy.
literally took over Times Square, shining the spotlight on the entire roster while highlighting gameplay.
This is dope, by the way.
Through fantastic costume design, cinematic photos, and clever references to the game itself. You don't commit to marketing like this unless you believe in your game, and Kuro is making sure to address some of the doubts expressed by testers from the last closed beta tests, focusing between each Resonator showcase, understanding the public knowledge that localization has been working.
Oh, I did see something about this, or the working like overtime and stuff, and they finally did get like more people hired. so hopefully that won't be happening as much. But yeah, this does suck to see. They clearly were rushed for time, and so there's definitely some lacking choices that Kuro have made.
Overtime to finish production for Wuthering Waves, these delays make sense, but also make Kuro Games appear incompetent as developers. Is
A
it
little
really
bit.
their fault, though? Looking at the roster, it's quite strange that we're seeing so few names that we're traditionally familiar with in the
Okay, so this is how I found this dude. Because people were coming up with this take that there's an exclusivity contract for HoYoverse voice actors, which would make zero sense because then no one would sign that. So he's kind of like, I don't recognize these people, so they can't be that good, is already how this feels. Well, yeah, I don't recognize them, so that, you know, where's the voice actors from HoYo?
gacha and anime space. Big names like Rihanna Knickerbocker, Damon Mills, and Caleb Yen are surprisingly one of those titles, ironically enough, includes Punishing Gray Raven. Coincidentally,
I don't even understand anymore. So how did people use this video to say there was an exclusivity contract? This is by Kuro. They wouldn't just do it for one game if it was an exclusivity contract. So,
or not, all of these big-ticket VAs are nowhere to be found. This becomes even more questionable knowing that Skylar Davenport, the voice actor from March 7th from HoYoverse's turn-based strategy game Honkai Star Rail, and also the voice of Bianca from Punishing Gray Raven, was the original voice for Yang Yang in the earliest closed beta test. In the current state of the game, her VA is Rebecca Yo. Skylar Davenport is a
is this to prove the point that there's an exclusivity contract? Because then why would they even start? I feel like when you change voice actors, either something that the voice actor has done, or they're not fitting with the image you initially had. And if they've changed the story, maybe Yang Yang was different. I don't know, for sure. This is only a theory.
talented actress that has historically delivered in her previous role with Kuro Games.
Why are we bringing talent into it, though? This has nothing to do with talent.
Why would Kuro Games replace a tenured VA for their largest budget game with a VA that has only had one role prior over 2 years ago? How much?
Whoa, I don't like this. I already don't like this. What does previous experience have to do with anything? I already don't like. So basically, this person to you is less deserving of a role because they haven't done previous roles. I mean, one of her previous roles is a gacha game. So what's the issue? I'm so lost. What about Aventurine then? Aventurine hadn't even done a role before. Why did they hire him? He wasn't a known person.
Dialogue had to be
He did a
reframed
great
to
job.
accommodate for new VAs. It's clear that something is going on behind the scenes. Were the delays in the English dub for the Wuthering Waves CBT caused by even more anti-compete agreements by HoYoverse behind the scenes?
This is where it came from. This is the bold jump. This is a wild theory. This is a very wild theory to have because voice acting is very different to content creating. So pulling this kind of thing as a connecting thing is it's a stretch. It's a big stretch to try and do this. You would have to pay them a lot more. Right, when someone is a content creator, so for an exclusivity contract for a voice actor who you're already paying, right? You're already paying them to voice act for your game. You would have to pay them a lot more to say, yo, you can't voice act for any of our competitors, but we'll pay you a shit ton though. It can't just be like, okay, we're gonna pay you the normal rate, and you also can't voice for any of the other games. Any of our competitors? Nope, you can't do it. Oh, that's what you do? Well, I mean, it's either us or all the other roles, and they're going to take all the other roles. Because why would you pass up an opportunity or multiple opportunities to work with different roles? Like, as a voice actor, it seems very fun to voice a lot of characters. I don't think any of them want to be chained down to just one character. I assume voice acting, it looks very fun to kind of play and act as a character. It looks very fun. And to do that with multiple roles seems way more beneficial from both a job standpoint and earning money and an enjoyment factor. Okay. Well, if I'm going to get paid the same rate and I have to be exclusive, yeah, I'll take that. I'll gladly take that. No one sane is doing that.
EA contractors? This is a disturbing trend that HoYoverse is actively developing within the gacha space and video games as a whole. The ability to deny resources and talent to your competitors through predatory employment agreements is...
Why are we bringing up talent? This is pissing me off. Why are we bringing up talent? Already I'm like annoyed because this has nothing to do with talent. You're straight up just saying, okay, well, all the EN voices for Wuthering Waves are just not talented. Let's get the HoYo ones. They're so much better. This is a direction issue. Kuro have to give the okay. They get to change stuff. They get to say to the voice actors, hey, this isn't what we're looking for. can you change this? Which might have been the case for why one of them gets replaced. That can be why. They're like, hey, this doesn't fit the image that we're going for. Can you change this? We need this change. This needs to be different. This is... Okay. I won't get too annoyed because you know, at the end of the day, this is not something I should do. This isn't directed towards me. It just kind of pisses me off that we're going after people's talent when it has nothing to do with it.
Soon start taking inspiration from Hoyoverse's practices and prevent English VAs from dubbing an anime series that competes with one of their existing titles?
No, this would never happen. I can guarantee this would never happen. Because no voice actor signing that. Do you know how much you'd have to pay? I'm going to keep saying it. You'd have to pay a lot. Not just double, not just triple, probably not even just 10 times, right? Because the more you build up your history with different jobs and roles, the more value you're probably going to have as long as you delivered well. So to have an exclusivity contract, let's take Solo Leveling. I think his name is Alex. I don't know his surname, sorry. He's a great voice actor. He did a phenomenal job. Right? Now his value is higher because he has delivered very well with what he's done. For someone to sign an exclusivity contract with him after he just smashed that role, they're going to have to pay an exorbitant amount. And chances are they won't want to do that because they don't gain anything out of it. Do you get what I mean? A company doesn't gain anything from keeping a single voice actor for a single character.
The main audience hurt at the end of the day are the consumers. Antitrust is a thing for a reason. Wuthering Waves faces many struggles and obstacles in its marketing because of Hoyoverse's morally questionable practices. Their success in monopolizing some of the most important aspects of a game's longevity and appeal should be a massive cause for concern within the gacha community. It's abundantly clear that Hoyo has made active attempts to sabotage Wuthering Waves' closed beta test and first impressions, restricting voice actors at the most inopportune times, likely the direct
Where's your proof? Oh, you know what? Maybe you've got proof.
cause for the lack of English dub in the most recent CBT. It would be very convenient if a contract from a signed Hoyoverse VA was leaked in the coming weeks.
Where's this info coming from? How do you know? Because I don't like to make these claims without having some basis. This isn't a basis. What you've provided so far isn't a basis. What you've said is, I don't recognize the names, they're not big enough, so they're not talented, and it's Hoyoverse's fault. It's Hoyoverse's fault that these bums are voicing for Wuwa instead of my really prestiged and ones that I care about from Hoyo. That's what it's really sounding like. Like, it genuinely sounds like this is embarrassing of a take if this is what it is.
Creators. Would a tenured company like Kuro Games, with years of experience developing gacha games, compounded with the learnings from past predecessors, release a CBT with no English dub unless their hand was forced when they're...
Depends. Because these things can happen, right? It's not a good thing. Yeah? It's not a good thing. But we don't know the behind the scenes. Did they change the studio? Was there issues with how the story was going that they had to redo so they didn't have time? Because if they had redone half of it, so half of it was voice acted and half of it wasn't, why would you only release that? It's better to not include everything until it's done. Because then you get the full experience. Yeah, it might not be the best idea for a beta, but sometimes people make decisions that aren't great.
Earliest CBT had English voice work?
The earliest CBT, was that not where they were like, hey, we need some changes done? So this video, you know, I'm going to leave links to both videos in the description, no matter how much I disagree with them. I still believe in crediting. So I'm going to leave the videos in the description. This video's kind of annoyed me already, because he's got issues with the British voice actors, even though they voiced in like Arknights and stuff like that. Those are gacha games. Those are maybe not the biggest competitor, but it's still in the same kind of genre. Not an open world gacha, but it comes under gacha games. So they have some experience in voice acting in gacha games. The story wouldn't be that different. Let's go on to the next video.
Today I'll be focusing on some recent content shared by a very popular VA VTuber combo, Alejandro Saab, or Sayu. As a voice actor across many popular gacha games like Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact, along with many reported roles in anime, Saab has built up quite a huge following across social media with an incredible reach on his audience. In short, his words mean
I mean, light work, you
he
know,
has a lot of
300k
public
subs,
support.
because
Sayu, in a video uploaded
I'm
earlier
better.
today, made a very critical response to my video regarding my theory behind the troubles in voice work Wuthering Waves had across its development. Sorry, let me correct.
Okay, so I can see why already that he would have made a video on this, because I was seeing Twitter talking to voice actors talking about this whole exclusivity thing, and they were just being constantly asked if it was real or whatever, to which he disproved. He said no, and he was tired of misinformation getting to him. I think Topaz's VA also was talking about it.
He didn't actually watch my video. He read one pinned comment that I made after several brigades from Twitter and r/Gacha Gaming without even attempting to get context on my points. His fanbase brigaded my channel through a reply on one of the tweets direct linking my video that remains up to this day. It was then spread over to r/Gacha Gaming and was unmoderated for 13 hours, leading to many comments.
What did it say?
It was then spread over to r/Gacha Gaming and was unmoderated.
People are already cooking the guy for spreading misinformation. I don't understand what's wrong with that. So are you saying that someone can give out wrong info and because they're smaller size or whatever? Because he's like saying, oh, Sayu's a big YouTuber, he's really big, he's got loads of following. What's the issue for cooking him?
For 13 hours, leading to many comments like this and a growing list.
Disgusting video, and now I know exactly why after Sayu's video on it. Clown. Channels that are hate farming by spreading lies like this one are so pathetic. I don't know about his whole channel. That previous video that I watched had some very pathetic points when I'm in a delusional competition on my opponent. That's pretty funny. I would, if someone commented that, like with my name instead, I would have hearted that. That's funny. And the clown emoji one, I mean, it's very light. I could just scroll past it.
He starts off this segment by probably deliberately mispronouncing my name.
Saint Puntos, or whatever the fuck his name is, who is like literally, just like, bro.
He even adds a nice little ethnic dialect to it for fun, even though I pronounce it very clearly in all of my videos. He claims.
But I thought your point was that Sayu didn't watch your video, so how would he know? How would he know that? Like, if I saw your name once, I wouldn't remember it. Saint Tontas, I can read it because I'm looking at it and I'm reading it like that. It's not an easy name to remember. Mispronouncing a name really isn't that big of a deal, especially if they haven't watched a video before and they're not looking directly at your name.
That I've taken his words out of context.
People taking my words out of context and just to spin their conspiracy theories.
Which is rich, coming from a voice actor who doesn't bother to learn the pronunciation of names. I paraphrase his.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. This guy's really sensitive. I can already tell. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Are you gonna be like NVV2? Is this a little MVV2? Oh my gosh. Oh no, you're too sensitive for this, bro. Dude, I'm worried about you, man. You're like really butthurt over one instance of mispronunciation. Should I not make this video? Are you gonna break down? Do people just grow up without any like issues? I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous that you're like that weak. And I don't even mean that as an insult. Like, how have you had no inconveniences in your whole life that mispronunciating your online username handle is this distressing?
And say he has no exclusivity. He wholeheartedly agrees with this.
Because I was going to respond, but he said, Alejandro Salles confirmed that he has no exclusivity in his contract. Right.
So, what am I taking out of context? He then gives this incredibly confusing breakdown on exclusivity.
Usually when it comes to voiceover, there is no exclusivity like that. The only time there is exclusivity is usually for commercials, aka like I talked about this previously, like Coca-Cola and you know, Pepsi, like competitors like that when it comes to commercials, because you don't want your spokesperson, your voice.
He says this is only for commercials. Are these cinematics not commercials? Do they not serve the job of selling a product?
He did say spokesperson. Is Jing Yuan the spokesperson for Honkai Star Rail? I want to ask you that. Is he? I don't think so. He's just one character compared to what he just referenced as big companies having a singular voice for their whole spokesperson for the whole thing. Those are different. If you're like PUBG being ignorant about this, then all power to you, man. You're making yourself look a bit like a clown. Maybe that emoji guy was right.
Character? You can't be making general statements like there is no exclusivity and then follow up with exclusions that allow for it.
Wasn't your video on the voice acting? Okay.
You are not answering questions here. You are just making more. So Coca-Cola doesn't want their voice to do Pepsi, but the idea of Hoyoverse not wanting General Jing Yuan to voice General Jian is tinfoil.
You know what I mean?
I think you don't know how voice actors work. Just because he was a general in one game doesn't mean he has to be the general in every game. Yeah, I mean, I think General Jian's voice actor for English is great. Seems like a really cool dude. But Sayu is bigger, so he deserves the role more? Is that where you're going with this? Even though the auditions and stuff were done in the UK and it's done with a UK group? I think they're called Side or something like that.
I don't know what you mean.
But when it comes to video games, anime, and that kind of thing, there isn't that.
I directly reference this in my video as a potential slippery slope that could occur in the future.
I feel like you don't understand what exclusivity really is and just how impactful it is to someone's career. Because like, yeah, you can sign NDAs and stuff like that where you can't disclose stuff. But usually when you voice a character, it's because you are voicing their lines in advance. So you can't spoil stuff that happens. Maybe it's going to be a big reveal. You can't spoil that. Again, I said it before, like Solo Leveling's, they smashed that. For an exclusivity contract now, that's going to be hella money, and it's just not worth it for any company to do that. The real slippery slope when it comes to voice acting is AI, okay? That's where things get bad. It is not exclusivity contracts, that will never be a threat.
Knowing that it isn't the present case. But yeah, let's just keep talking about points that I've already made and continue building that straw man.
He does, and then he goes, he does not confirm whether or not his contract would be not be renewed if he took on a Wuwa role. It would.
That's great. He refuted it live on Twitch. How is my statement untrue in any way? What am I taking out of context? Where am I lying? Was I supposed to update my comment in real time as his stream was live? Why paint me as some sort of manipulator? And Sayu then says this about all voice actors working on all Hoyoverse games.
They don't care. They don't care. They don't care.
He confirms that any voice actor would not have their contract revoked, but he's mainly actually talking about himself, because later in the video...
Okay, alright. Let's go with this, okay? So imagine you are a voice actor. No, imagine you're Hoyo and your voice actor, let's say Sayu. Let's say Sayu says to me, hey, I'm gonna go do this job. Well, I don't think he would even do that, but like, let's just say, I'm gonna go do this job for Wuthering Waves. And then, why would my response be like, no, you're not allowed to do that? It's in we've made you do a contract where you're not allowed to do that. Firstly, you wouldn't sign it. You wouldn't sign a contract for that. Secondly, it's just negative. It's literally negative PR that Hoyo are going to get if it ever gets out. And it's also more expensive. It's just more expensive. Companies want to save money, okay? It's very rare for an exclusivity contract because it's so expensive. They want to save money. Hoyo have proved this. Companies prove this all the time. Save money where you can, right? Because that's what they care about is profit. It is not profitable for a company to have an exclusivity contract. The whole point on voice acting and not being allowed to voice for this game is null just from that. It is not a profitable expense. It just isn't.
Mumbled under his breath. He says every person gets different contracts.
Yeah, everybody gets different contracts, so it's just...
Is that not true? Why would they all get the same contract? They don't have the same value. They don't have the same value. Let's take football, or soccer as Americans might call it, or any sport. Is every player paid the same, even if they work for the same team? Why not? Oh, it's because they have different value. Oh, so why would that not be the same for a team of voice actors? I know they're not really teams, but they work for the same game. Obviously, they're going to get different contracts with different pricing. They also have different roles.
With that in mind, why is he so confident speaking out on behalf of the entire VA cast across all Hoyoverse games?
I won't always be right, because I don't know everything. But I can tell you that contract shit is bullcrap.
I can tell you that. I don't even work for them. Because I actually am thinking about it from a business perspective. I don't know why... Like, you're actually so far in the wrong that I sound like a Hoyo shill. Which is something I never am, because I will shit on Hoyo always. Just because I enjoy the game, that doesn't stop me from shitting on it. I love Wuwa, I'll shit on that. I love Star Rail, I'll shit on that. I hate Genshin, I'll shit on that. I've a habit of shitting on the games that I like and dislike. When I liked Genshin, I used to shit on it. I'm getting sidetracked so hard.
It might be because he's an expert, right? A lot of years in the industry, he keeps talking about it in this video. Or maybe he's using his situation and applying it to everybody else.
Bro, you really got to understand it from a business perspective, man. I don't know what to tell you. You're like painting this whole evil mastermind kind of puppet shit. And it just makes no sense. It really doesn't. I don't know how else to tell you, man. If Jing Yuan, voice actor, went to another game, it doesn't impact Star Rail. It really doesn't. Let's use Genshin and Wuwa. If Wuwa had a character like Paimon that just floats around you, and they got the exact same voice actor as Paimon, there'd probably be an issue there, right? If the person voiced another different character and a different voice, then it'd be fine. But this is different from exclusivity, right? Because Paimon would be considered one of the main voices for Genshin, and having them also be the voice of Wuwa would have a little bit of issue. From my perspective, I don't even know if that's fully right. Okay, this is just to try and support your point. It just doesn't make sense, man. They would just lose money for something of so little value.
When he really shouldn't be. He then parrots the same exact point echoed by his entire community on my channel.
Other voice actors have worked for other for Kuro Games.
This is crazy because this is the literal first point of my comment. He never actually put my comment on the screen and decided to pick and choose what to read to his viewers.
Did he put any of your shit on the screen? Because you already seem very frail. So maybe he was doing you a
He
favor.
wanted to skip it to keep painting this narrative of incompetency about me. This is what he does to smaller creators. He lies through omission to dunk.
Is there any history of him doing this to other smaller creators, or has he done it to someone that was in the wrong and made some shit points? Because if he has, I'm more than open to see it. Oh, please, show me. Because I'll shit on Sayu if he does that. If that's something that he actively does, just goes around and harasses smaller content creators, that's a piece of shit thing to do. But I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to assume that. You have now painted that as a general thing that he does. This is some big things to be going into, bro. And I don't think you can handle it. Okay? Because this clapback could be insane. Unless it gets, you know, unless you live in your echo chamber where everyone's like, oh no, Sayu did it so badly, Sayu's awful. Because they just take your word for it. Then fair enough. You know, live in your echo chamber, bro.
On them and hopes his audience will not fact check him. It is disgustingly manipulative. Sayu then follows up by announcing differences.
You cannot. I'm sorry, bro. I'm actually gonna dunk on you so hard. You are fucking brain dead if you think that you can actually just manipulate or try to manipulate people by saying, yeah, he does this to smaller content creators. He's done it to you because you painted a bad picture that was wrong. But now you have tried to manipulate your audience to think, yeah, Sayu kind of does this to smaller content creators a lot. And you know, I'm just a victim here. I really didn't do anything that bad. Yeah, I was wrong, but like, you know, he's sending everyone to me to harass me, and he does this to smaller content creators, man.
NBA contracts.
The ZZZ contract was confirmed real. Many content. That's a different contract. The contract for a content creator is not the same contract for a voice actor.
This makes a lot of sense, considering they are different careers entirely, with different skill sets and work hours.
Yeah.
I know this. What's really odd here is how Sayu seems to imply that I do believe that these contracts are the exact same, never stating that in either my comment or my video, and that I'm, well, just take his words for it.
And if you genuinely think that, you are fucking stupid. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, that is just not the way contracts...
So, if you think that, you're fucking stupid. You just said that you don't think that, right? So are you fucking stupid? Because I think you might be now for not understanding what you just said.
Right. There are literally contracts in different departments for different reasons. Like, can we use our brains for... Like, I'm sorry to shit on this person.
He's a big creator. His fans just take his word for it.
But they brought my name into it and, like, just spout... And, like, with their tinfoil hat, it's like, well, he said this, but he didn't say this.
He's claiming that I deserve all of this because I did these two things. I paraphrased his tweet that confirmed he had no exclusivity.
Okay.
I stated that he did not confirm his eligibility for renewal.
Look, I'm going to move my camera out of the way. The way you've worded this, he says, okay, he says he doesn't. He doesn't confirm. That's how it's read. That's how people are going to read it because you've put it like that. Okay, so maybe you didn't intend to. I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt there. All right? But you didn't ask this. All right? You didn't ask this initially because he just confirmed, like, that wasn't a point that you made about the renewal of contract. So now you've kind of worded it like as a gotcha thing. It's like, you may have said this, but you didn't disprove this theory. It's like, you see how it's kind of being portrayed?
For future Hoyo contracts if he took on a Wuwa role. Why is there so much anger over me saying that he didn't do something when he did it? You do realize this much aggressiveness over a statement that really doesn't mean that much.
Aggressiveness or frustration? I feel like it's frustration. Aggressiveness is a bit different, right? This is frustration. So I'm assuming, because he was replying to these kinds of things, talking about voice actors and the whole exclusivity thing, and he had to do it multiple times. I saw a couple of those tweets on my timeline. This is what prompted this video.
Only will lead people to believe that you are actually being paid by Hoyoverse, even though you're saying you're not, because they probably pay you to say that you're not getting paid by them.
Maybe, actually, you are more aligned with gacha gamers than I am, because I actually like to think. And from a thinking perspective, this seems very much like frustration of being asked the same shit over and over again.
But you're displaying some of the most insane behavior that I've ever seen before.
People aren't gonna believe me. People are gonna be like, well, he's paid to say that.
How wonderful of a life you must have led, if this much, you know, frustration is the worst behavior you've ever seen. That's all I can say.
No, I'm not.
So, with that in mind, I'll ask for a third time. What am I taking out of context here? What did I do that warrants a 17-minute rant, misconstruing my words from a 360k sub VTuber and famous...
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I told you what kind of person this person was. I actually told you. I knew it. Look, it's size. It's always size. Size of this, size of that. Size is important. Sound like some of my... you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Anyway.
What did I do to deserve this continual brigade by your community?
So now, like me talking about it, he's probably gonna be like, well, he didn't say this thing.
Guess what, Sayu? I am talking about it. But I'm not asking why you didn't say things. I'm asking why you're saying things that are definitively false. Let me explain. He dives into my list of examples where Horrorverse has directly worked against Wuwa in recent days.
There has also been confirmed follow botting that is pro Genshin on many Wuwa Twitch streamers. That I don't know anything about. And if that is happening, that fucking sucks. They literally dropped Natlin news and quality of life upgrades the week of Wuwa's release. I mean, look, you might call me a Genshin dick writer or a Hoyo dick writer for saying this. Dude, this shit is planned out weeks or months in advance. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the timing was just unfortunate. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I have little doubt that Hoyo would implicitly put VA's employments in their games into question if they did voice work for the biggest competitor, considering everything that they've done already this week that can actually factually be confirmed. No, it factually fucking can't. You are literally pulling this shit out of your ass.
The voice acting thing cannot be factually proven. But as for the Natlin stuff, it wasn't coincidence. It was planned in advance. So both of those statements that Sayu have made are correct and incorrect. It was planned in advance. He is correct. Was it coincidence? No. As a competitor, what would you seek to do? If you have competition and you want to get ahead, or you don't want to lose your lead, you're going to do more. As a content creator, when a new character comes out, what are you going to try and do first? Hey guys, I did it first. My video's out. Look, guys, watch me first. Watch me first. I need to get ahead of everyone else. It is not a bad thing for a game to push out more content at the same time as the launch of another game. Because they aren't buddy-buddy, they aren't best friends, they are competitors that are trying to get as much money as possible. Oh, your game is launching? Shit, we might lose money. Okay, let's push out this so people can stick with us. Because we don't want to lose anyone. How is this malpractice? Is that really malpractice? Am I confused? Maybe I'm out of touch, right? Maybe I'm out of touch. Because if I had a product and I didn't want to lose my consumers, I'm going to push out more content. And if there's any other competition that I have, I'm going to try and bash them out. I'm going to try and like say, yo, guys, check out my stuff. I'm adding more, you know? You can check out that new thing, but I'm adding more. So you know, you guys have wanted this stuff, right? Now's the time. Hey, you wanted more stuff? I got you, bro. Ignore the other stuff. Ignore my competitor. Just come over here.
He says that my entire list of examples cannot be factually confirmed. There is follow botting.
I don't think that was in reference to that. The follow botting was proven. I agree. That's real. But I think he was referencing the voice acting stuff with the changes. That could be, maybe I'm wrong. That's how I would take it personally. I'm seeming like a Sayu shell. If Sayu did something genuinely wrong, I'm going to call him out for it, right? At the end of the day, who fucking cares what I say? But I would still do it.
It's right here. The QLL teaser was released on 5/20.
This is the Brax thing. Look, it very much points to Hoyo. Follow botting, because of the wording of it, seems very professional. Or it's someone that decided to go with a more formal kind of presentation of messages to portray it as Hoyo. Either way, it sucks. And hey, I'll make my camera out of the way so you can read. But yeah, it's like the words like seamless, talking about how puzzles are childish or whatever. Impeccable. I mean, I don't see a gacha fan, like an average gacha fan, spelling impeccable right.
22 for 40 resin, the day of Wuwa's release. You really think that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is fair. That's fair game to me. That is totally fair game. Why wouldn't you want to stomp out your competitor? This is a shit update to my point of view, because 200 resin so sucks. It doesn't change the rate that you're getting it.
That changing 2 integers in the back end from 160 to 200 was something that they were planning for weeks and months in advance? You are a writer, bro. This is right.
I thought you were talking about Natlan.
Then we have the Natlan teaser, again, on the week of release. All I said...
Natlan was planned. This stuff might not have been planned, and might have been a last-ditch attempt. I'm fair game for that. Still, the Natlan thing must have been planned. You cannot do that in that short of a time frame.
That these were factual things that happened on the week of Wuwa's release. Why are you repeatedly calling me a liar? What am I pulling out of my ass? What here cannot be...
Oh, maybe he was reading this.
I have
Okay.
the literal receipts of it. Isn't all of this stuff coming from your pixelated mouth actual misinformation? Saying that these public posts cannot be factually confirmed? All of this to
Why has he brought himself up again?
bully a 2200 subscriber channel? Sayu then tells his viewers that the way that I say things...
Low-key, I hate people like this. I'm not even gonna lie, man. I don't know what your other content is like. I really hope it's better than this. Whatever style you do, shout out to you, man. If you're making other content, this kind of content is not for you, bro. I would stick away from it, man. You can't handle it. You're bitch made, to put it nicely. You've brought up your sub count. You seem to really care about like the size and following. You're just two individuals. That's it. You were seen as an individual that was wrong and annoying, so you were confronted.
Is misinformation.
Like, and also goes on to say, there's no misinformation anywhere in this video. Unfortunately, it's a statement of fact and then a discussion about hypothetical explanation. That's not fucking factual. That's the way you are dictating this information is misinformation.
This is the literal dictionary definition of misinformation. Highlighted here,
Highlighted there, deliberately. Okay. Especially. So from that word, especially, does not mean every single instance, actually. It's just saying more specifically this, like really more specifically this. However, it's actually the bit that you didn't highlight that you need to really focus on, which is false and inaccurate information, which is what you kind of put out. But I guess we can just ignore that part.
deliberately intended to deceive. I cover a lot of information in my video. First, the Wuwa cast of VAs revealed on their official channel. You can check it out right now.
Ian voices? I thought there was only one that you referenced. Skylar. They switched one VA that you mentioned, and you don't even know why.
Now has a lot of unfamiliar names from the gacha and anime scene. The Wuwa
Know that.
CBT2 had no English dub. That was a cause for heavy criticism of the game earlier this year. EN voices from Hoyoverse games were originally in CBT1. Fourth is that Kuro had previously employed many VAs in current Hoyoverse games in PGR. I bring up 4 examples of different VA combos. Fifth is that Wuthering Waves
For Hu Tao, I can't verify. But Star Rail came out a lot later than PGR. So your point is invalid there. Because Damon is like Linny or something, who came out after PGR. Caleb is Kylus, and has no Genshin Impact like character that I know of, at least. PGR came out first. They're not going to change the role.
Hoyoverse games in PGR. I bring up 4 examples of different VA combos. Fifth is that Wuthering Waves switched VAs completely despite having a team ready to go in CBT1, and subsequently had no English dub in CBT2. Something went wrong with the VAs and recording.
Multiple different issues. It could be budget. It could be that it was more difficult to time the changing because of the story. Because the story was changed. Because people complained about it and said it was changed. So there's 2 different reasons. I don't understand how you've somehow hopped to that being Hoyoverse's fault.
You was saying that the way that I said these points, not what I'm actually saying, is misinformation. Imagine a 360k sub YouTube channel.
If I say, you're a really great person and every take that you make is so correct and you should continue to make videos. And your content's really good and I really respect you. If I say it like that, I've said everything nice. But the way I'm saying it isn't nice, is it? It's clear that I feel the opposite. Or I feel a different way to how the words that I'm saying come across. So it's even more difficult to tell like how people think through text.
Explicitly calling your channel and video out, refusing to watch the video, and then going on a 17-minute rant about how you are spreading misinformation and how nothing you say can be factually confirmed. They tell you, no, it's not the actual things you're saying. It's the way you're saying it. The way
Oh, that
you
was a
say
cool
things
voice,
is
bro.
misinformation. Your content doesn't matter. It's wrong because it came from you. Why is a 360k sub VTube channel with a huge presence across social media?
I actually can't. Bro, stop bringing up subs. Please. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Stop. You gotta stop bringing up subs, man.
Of his size. Why was I not given enough respect from him for him to watch a 6-minute and 30-second video before going on a 17-minute?
Broski. Let me put into perspective the 2 points that you're making. So, you're saying he's a big guy and he's going after you, a very small guy. So that's a problem that he's going after you, right? But now you're complaining he's not showing your name, even though you've proven that you cannot handle any form of criticism. You need your echo chamber of positivity and affirmations. So which one do you want? Because you need to wake up to the real world, man. If he puts your name there, you're done. You're gonna get way more than you thought.
Rant. Why does he claim that I am taking his words out of context when there's almost no clearer context I could have given? You even say that you get speculation and you get game theory.
Look, I get speculations, I get game theories, I get it. But when it comes to this type of situation, you're just stirring up trouble for the sake of stirring up trouble.
So why are you so pressed about this? I didn't even use your name in an overly negative.
You didn't use his name, but you literally used him and his co-workers, I guess. Because you're saying that Star Rail VAs were not allowed to voice for Kuro game and Wuthering Waves. That's what you are trying to imply and push across. Because this is one of the points that you were talking about where it comes to sabotage. He is included in that. If another voice actor wants to talk about it, they are allowed to talk about it. One, because they're just allowed to anyway, and two, it's because you've mentioned them.
All I know is that, from your point of view, it's okay when it's a different topical area to come up with theories and explanations. But now it's stirring up trouble.
Yes, it is stirring up trouble. If it's a game theory, like about lore or something like that, it's totally different to jobs. To real jobs. To real people that are going to have to suffer the kind of backlash from misinformation. And to be constantly hounded about exclusivity and whatnot across Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Yeah, it is different. If you genuinely think you didn't stir up any trouble, you're actually cooked.
Because you're involved. So you go nuclear on a 2,000 sub creator. Why are you so pressed about this? Is it really that ridiculous to assume that taking on a role with a company's biggest competitor might hurt business relations? Oh wait, you actually started off your rant talking about the exact scenario where this situation would apply.
And you just didn't listen to
Sayu
it.
then dives a little bit more into exclusivity and the contract situation.
If for whatever reason Hoyo or any company, whether it's Hoyo, Kuro, like any company I've worked with, that literally would tell me it's like, hey, because you're working on this thing, you can't work on this thing, you can't reprise your role, I would literally talk about it publicly.
In short, he's confident that
Yes. Because you've just said that he can't work on it. Because, so let's say you're trying to apply for a role, right? You're auditioning, and like, hey, you kind of voice our competitor, so we're going to say no. You haven't signed any NDA there. You can talk about it, but I don't understand this point.
he would spill the beans. But he also confirms that he has NDAs.
There's no NDA in your contract. There are NDAs in my contract.
So would you, really? Or are you just saying random shit for the sake of it to score more good boy points with your community? Sayu, this is for you.
Do you think NDAs are just because of roles? Like, do you think it's just because of that and not being a role in like another competition kind of game? Do you think that's all the NDAs are? Do you think there's no other NDAs? Of course there are NDAs. He's probably not allowed to talk about like stories and stuff like that. What happens next? He's probably not allowed to disclose that. There's probably tons of other information he's not allowed to disclose. You're making points that don't make sense, man.
There are literally NDAs that persist after its service terms are over for a set duration of time. Once expired, that's when people talk about it. Since you like soda so much, why do you think the recipe for Coke isn't public knowledge yet? Even though there's obviously somebody that knows all of the ingredients that are inside of Coke, but is no longer employed by Coke. Why isn't the recipe public knowledge? Well, that's because the NDA persists after their service or work is over, and it could easily apply to you. Here's a photo of it. I even highlighted it because you don't like getting context before making
But your whole point was about people not being able to get the roles, which wouldn't be an NDA. And Kuro could talk about that, so.
incredibly inflammatory statements and reaction videos. Maybe your next one can be on NDAs and how they work, so you can learn a bit yourself. Noble of you to claim that I'm the one spreading misinformation. There's then a reference to other regions and talking about how they share a lot of different VAs.
And also in other languages, there are literally in the Chinese and the Japanese cast folks who voice in Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, and Wuthering Waves.
I don't know about
The autonomy and
Japanese,
additional
but in
protections
CN,
granted
yeah.
by these regions extend far beyond those in the United States, especially for voice actors. You mentioned that studios can go ahead and change direction all the time for whatever reason on the US side. That does not happen on the Japanese side. These VAs are celebrities over there and have much more sway in negotiations, much like how Sayu probably gets better contract terms than smaller name VAs because of his brand. Bringing this up as some sort of gotcha is crazy. You know your own working conditions. Are they even comparable to those in JP? Sayu then mentions that he knows nothing about Skylar Davenport's involvement in CBT1.
Also, I saw one thing where talk about like how in one of the closed betas, it was Skylar. I don't know anything about that.
This was also mentioned in my video. Further evidence that he's just publishing 17-minute rants and starting brigades for content creators. that
The
he
same
doesn't even
four
watch.
comments.
Now that is a responsible creator if I've ever seen one. He then directly compares HSR.
Holy shit, you're actually such a bitch. I'm sorry, man. I was really trying not to just go to name calling, so I'm gonna stop there. But this is so pathetic, bro. Your responsibility is a big. No, you've said something that's wrong. That he can prove that is wrong in his condition, so he has. You're trying to like string together this whole thing where it's like, yeah, I was targeted, and I did nothing wrong, and, you know, I'm so factual, but because I'm a smaller content creator, Sayu's using his larger audience to harass me. It's like, that's not what's happening, man.
To Wuwa.
Like Honkai Star Rail started off recording in one company and then ended up recording at a different company. So why the fuck wouldn't the same thing happen with fucking Wuthering Waves?
HSR has great voice acting and big names. Wuwa had questionable voice acting and VAs that have very little exposure to the genre.
This is my one point where I'm really angry at you. Okay. Why does this big names? What does that mean? I think a lot of the voice actors in Wuthering Waves did a good job, right? And if they didn't do a good job, I think that's because of the directors. That has nothing to do with their talent, right? You are shunning people, you are shunning voice actors because they're not part of Hoyo. Because you're putting Hoyo on a pedestal when they have someone like Aventurine. Aventurine's never voiced before, but because he did a great job, by the way. Don't get it twisted, he did a great job. What happened to the big names? Or actually, maybe in your point of view, Aventurine must have done a shit job because, you know, he didn't do any other roles. I mean, it was his first role. So just by that logic, it must be shit, right? Just because you don't recognize a name does not mean they're not talented. I'm going to repeat it again. Kuro get the final say. When they ask a voice actor to voice a line, they say, yo, this is good, this is what we want. Or, no, this isn't good, can you change it? Can you redo it?
To just equate the two games. He then talks about all of these different reasons for choosing a new studio or VAs, but then caps it off with this reason.
There could be 1,000 or 1,000,000 or a dozen reasons why they decided to change studios. Shit happened. It's the fucking industry.
My video's entire premise is based off of what shit could have happened and why. Would Kuro publicly say that they had to switch VA studios because of restricted access? No, they wouldn't. That's a terrible look on them. It makes them look like they cannot retain great talent and implies bad characteristics.
You don't know what retain means. I've just seen, you do not know what retain means, because that would mean that they had them, right? So let's say the Hoyoverse thing was right, okay? Let's say every voice actor has an exclusivity contract with Hoyo where they cannot go to Wuthering Waves. Let's say that that's right. How would that be anywhere near indicative of a game that's only coming out now, right? Star has been in the works for a year. Wuthering Waves just came out now. How would that be indicative at all of their competency? If someone signed a contract, it's nothing to do with how competent the next recruiter is, because they cannot go against that contract. You've just disproven your own point. You would actually not be thinking right. I'm going to try and be nice as possible. You would not be thinking correctly if you think it's to do with competency.
Within their organization, especially because they had an all-star cast in Punishing Grey Raven. Saying that the UK is closer, that might have been one of the reasons, but we don't actually know where it was on the list. But it is
the EN side, you know, the ones that were British, they're not well known, they're not big names. So guess what happens? They're actually cheaper. They are cheaper than big names. So what does that do? That fits in well with budget. They don't have an infinite budget. They didn't have enough of a budget to make big changes to their own engine. That's why they used Unreal, or whatever it was that they used. So they don't have the budget. So where they can save costs, they're going to. Is that indicative of talent? No. People have different value, and it's not always because of talent. The moment you imply that, it's very disingenuous. And I would say it's offensive. Sayu's very talented, and he has tons of roles and huge value. Any other voice actor that doesn't have as many roles, they're still talented. They still did their role really well. But which one's going to get paid more? It's going to be Sayu. He's done more. He has more of an impact. That's how it works. So when they can save budget by picking someone else who can also do a great job, they kind of would do that.
Is an acceptable one for the public. Sayu then just says, I'm making things up about him.
Literally the only reason I'm tackling it is because this dude is just making up shit about me.
When he literally confirms one of the two things that
I don't know
said,
what.
While the other
Maybe
says
Sayu's cooked for that
has
take.
not made the information known and then reveals the information live on Twitch. I then followed these statements with questions that haven't been answered, which he also answers live on stream. Why?
You could have worded this better, because the way you worded it makes it seem like a gotcha. I'm going to tell you again. How you should have worded it, you should ask it as a proper question. So you've answered this one. Can I ask a couple of other questions? And then list them. That would be a more formal and polite approach. The way you worded it sounds like, I gotcha. You didn't actually deny this thing that I didn't claim. You understand? So this is a wording issue on your part, and this is a response issue on Sayu's part.
And how is he misconstruing my words to such a large degree? It's very, very ironic that he says things are getting twisted and spun.
It's constantly happening, and I feel like this is obviously getting fucking twisted and spun because, oh, drama bait, oh, it's funny.
For drama bait. calling my entire post misinformation because of the way that I say things, and stating that nothing I mention can be factually confirmed despite literal public receipts in front of your entire audience and 360k sub channel isn't getting things twisted? You think that diving into
brought
a
out sub
17-minute
count again.
rant on a comment that I made following your community's brigade and not even respecting me enough to spend 6 minutes watching my video for context? You really think that your actions are not drama baiting at all? You cannot be real right now. He then caps off the rant by mumbling,
Yeah, everybody gets different contracts, so it's just ridiculous.
does this not invalidate pretty much every single
Nope,
thing he
nope,
said across the
nope,
entire video?
nope,
Why is he talking
nope.
about his contracts as if they are the standard in the industry? All I'll say is, Sayu, you are literally inviting your entire fanbase, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, wherever, to attack me and my content. You paint me as a liar.
If those are the worst messages you got, man, look, you're very lucky. Those are the worst things you got. That's the worst things. You got pathetic and delusional as terms that we used against you, and a clown emoji. That's the worst. You actually need to grow a pair, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Information while doing far worse than anything I could possibly ever do to you or any other creator. You have a huge reach and decided to misconstrue a 2,200 subscriber channel in front of your entire audience for content. You refuse to grab context for any of the comments, refuse to watch a video, but still decided it's worth monetizing. You have to take some responsibility for your actions. The only
That's
conclusion
rich.
that I-
That's rich. So he has to. He has to take responsibility. But because you're smaller, you're a small little baby. You don't need to take responsibility for having those false claims that you couldn't back up. How are you not seeing this? How did you upload this?
been able to draw, and I'm sure it's a conclusion that maybe other people will be able to draw after this video, is that you probably are a shill. I mentioned your name in
So you could be a shill. Okay? However, your points aren't any more right. If he is a shill, that does suck if he is a shill. However, your whole points about the voice acting stuff is complete bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Okay? So you gotta wipe the tears out of your eyes because he said your name wrong and he said that you were wrong in general.
2 lines out of a multi-paragraph comment, and you made a 17-minute video on it. All that leads me to assume is that you are paid. Hoyo called in the big guns, got you to address this, because
Oh, no, you're so right. Hoyo saw your shitty fucking comment and was like, yeah, this is it. Alright, Sayu, Mr. Jingyuan, go launch an attack on that guy. Do we get
it
it?
really doesn't make any sense otherwise. There's no reason for somebody to be this defensive unless they're threatened. That's how it works.
That is... No, you're so right. That's how it works. That's actually... You're so right. It's not because you're a dumbass. It's actually because he was threatened, even though... But hey, I mean, he is a very big guy. He's very evil, you know, very big subscriber count. And hopefully, you know, Saint Tontas, you can't make a video on me because you would have to rein in your subscribers. Otherwise, it's very bad.
Oh, and by the way, that's just my theory, and the evidence and facts are literally your video. So any claims of misinformation, well, they came from the OG himself.
Real.
As a final disclaimer, I do want to mention that I attempted to reach out to Sayu to resolve this offline, but he preemptively blocked me.
I don't blame him for blocking you, man. No one has to put up with your shit. You've caused him shit where he has to constantly go defend himself about it and defend other voice actors about it. You caused him shit. You're not entitled to not be blocked. You tried reaching out after you fucked up shit, right? You left the video up, even though there was no full factual basis. There was facts on the whole Natlan stuff, but you left your video up, man. I don't know. I will leave links to both videos in the comments. You can go check it out. If you want to send hate, don't. Okay? It's much more funny to me if you just move on after watching it. If you want to, you're wasting your time commenting. He's just going to block it anyway. So you can't even have a genuine criticism on his channel. The whole thing about size and the talent being together and linked is so frustrating because this guy says he's constantly saying he's a small content creator. So by his own logic, isn't his video shit? Is his video not shit? Because he's lacking in talent. Because he's not a big name. So he's lacking in talent, right? Is that not his logic? What did the comments say? This is from the initial video. Concerning if true, but disingenuous to frame Kuro as a little guy. Exactly. I mean, I guess this is such a bad reason to support Kuro. You should support them for the great work that they've done. How much enjoyment you get from the game. Look at the message that you're pushing across. Okay, so what does the other video say? Most of Hoyo versus Ian, VAs being disappointed. Okay, I don't know where that's going. I wonder what happened to the VAs in CBT2. They changed the story, so I'm guessing that they didn't have time to record all the story that was new. And they couldn't have implemented it. Personally thinks Hoyo had their hands in... I personally don't think... Oh, someone who might have a brain? Problem with budget and location. Potential. Hoyo doesn't have the power to restrict every single VA. True. They wouldn't agree. Oh my gosh. Yo, shout out this guy. He's actually got a brain that he can think. It's way too much money to waste. It's way too much. WeWork's VA on launch was done by a British company called Side. Okay, so I was right about Side. They were forcing an American accent the whole time. I didn't know this. I only recognized one of the VAs. The VAs are talented, man. It's just the direction was bad from Kuro. And now the VAs are getting shit on and being called not talented. He seems to be very emotional and triggered. And people say triggered. It should tell you something. I think it does. It tells me that he's frustrated from having to deal with this claim. That's what it tells me. Sai is pretty much manipulating at this point. You've heard this comment, by the way. Every word he said is contradictory to his own statements. Is it? Imagine his contract depicts the whole as a whole, and then every VA has a different contract. I guess you really do need to spell it out for people because they're not all there. But yes, every contract for a person would be different because they have different value and different roles. And a exclusivity contract would be expensive. It would be expensive, especially for Sayu. Especially for Sayu. Respect for you standing your ground. I find a lot of English VAs have big egos. I'm better than you plebs, you should stop talking aura. The fact that he never bothered to watch your video proves that point. But you might be brain dead. That's all I can say, man. Why did he just go over it unprepared? Because it wasn't supposed to be a full thing. That's what I'm guessing. I feel like I'm a Sayu shill right now because these takes are so bad. Is this what people do? They see someone bigger and it's like instantly, oh, well, the smaller person must be right. This person's Saint Tontes. Look, pal, you won't watch all of this. I know it. But you made some mistakes in your video and you got called out on it, man. The people that are, in your little echo chamber, I feel like they're just not the ones you want there, man. I forgot to record an outro, but anyways, thank you guys for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.